What's going on, Godzirra Nation? This is ArghGodzirra, and with everything that has gone on this year, it is hard to believe we are less than 2 days away from the AFL 2020 Grand Final. Some teams have to hub for over 100 days. Some of those clubs, namely my club, have gotten themselves into some predicaments during that period of time. The actual game was changed in the length of quarters. Some different rule interpretations were brought in. Stadiums were shut down at the beginning of the season, not letting anybody come in, playing in front of fake crowds and automated noise. I can't believe we're here. And I can't believe that a season that has been set up to favour clubs like Port Adelaide and Brisbane, two clubs that had to do very little to no hubbing at all, we have two Victorian teams fighting it out for the Grand Final. We've got my beloved Tigers taking on Geelong Cats, who I do actually have a soft spot for. The Battle of the Cats. Who is going to reign supreme? That is what we're going to find out in this video. I'm going to run through why I think both Richmond and Geelong can and can't win the Premiership. Throw some statistics out there. We'll end with a bit of a prediction, not only for the winner, but for the Norm Smith medalist as well. So if this is something you want to see, I know some of you have been wanting this to hit the channel. It's here. Do myself a favour, hit that like button down below. But without further ado, I think it's time we got this one started. Richmond and Geelong couldn't have had any more polar opposite seasons to what they have had. Geelong had a couple of losses early on in the year, but got a big momentum rolling throughout the season, minus, I think, a loss here or there, but have proven that they have been one of the best teams in the competition without fail for 2020. Polar opposite side of things, Richmond have gone a harsher way about it. They've been in the spotlight a lot for things that they probably didn't want to be in the spotlight for, namely players Coleman Jones and Stack being sent home from the hub due to that incident, the Trent Cochin getting caught posting on Instagram that she was out at a day spa, and then Trent Cochin apparently threatening to go home and all that rumour and nonsense. We're not going to dive into that, but what I'm trying to say is Richmond have had a not so desirable season off the field. But when it comes to on the field, they have managed to get the job done again. Very much like last season where they had injuries and had to get it done around players missing from their set 22. They've done it again, and they're going to be featuring in another Grand Final. As a Richmond supporter, I am very happy to see them here again. A lot of talk this week has been around Brendan Gale and when he took over back in 2010, I believe it was, and he set out that 10-year plan, at the end of which, by 2020, he predicted that Richmond would have won 3 flags, would have no debt owing to the AFL, and would have cracked 75,000 supporters in paying memberships. And not only have we surpassed that 75, we were the first club in Australian sporting history to crack 100,000 supporters in the way of paying memberships, which was huge for the club, absolutely monumental. We've now got West Coast, who have cracked over 100,000 as well, so it's good to see other clubs following suit in that retrospect. And to think we're on the brink of winning our 3rd premiership in 4 years, that is something to be commended. Even if Richmond lose on Saturday, as a Richmond fan, I couldn't feel any more accomplished as to what Richmond have done. When Matthew Richardson retired, a lot of people felt the wheels were going to fall off at Richmond, and in a lot of retrospects they did, but they went to the drafts, they hit the trade table, especially from 2015 onward. I think the 2016 kind of missing out on that finals action, that was the turning point. Coming into 2017, we hit our stride. Josh Caddy comes in, Dion Prestia comes in, Toby Nankervis comes in. We've drafted well previous to that with the rookies that we've got coming through, the youngsters coming through as well. We win that premiership. We go on to bring in Tom Lynch. We've now got players this year that have stepped up their personal best, I suppose, for their careers. So Shai Bolton, career best season so far. Jaden Short, in my opinion, career best. Nick Vlosten, I feel was probably a bit stiff to not get an All-Australian jacket this year. Liam Baker stepped his game up. There are some players that are still riding the coattails, I feel, but a lot of players stood up when we needed them this year. Especially this boy right here, Noah Bolter. And I'm going to throw some stats up on the screen right now. Bolter the Bolter. We have to pay close attention to this, because if we look back to round 17, that's when Richmond defeated Geelong by, I think it was something like 27 points. Have a look at what Bolter has done as a full-back, playing on some of the competition's best full forwards, especially when it comes to Tom Hawkins and Charlie Dixon. So he kept Tom Hawkins to only 1 goal in round 17. In round 18 against Adelaide, he kept Taylor Walker to 1 goal. Eric Hipwood and Max King in back-to-back finals went without a goal. Charlie Dixon managed to score one against the flow when Bolter kind of dropped off and picked up Nankervis instead. And now we've got the grand final matchup. Tom Hawkins versus Noah Bolter. I can't remember there being a moment in history where so much is riding on the back of a young kid standing up and getting the job done. We're talking about a 21-year-old who is in his first proper season. He's had games here and there, but his first proper AFL season, trying to take on the Coleman Medallist and keep him quiet to hopefully deliver Richmond's 3rd Premiership. And in saying that, Tom Hawkins has a bit of a weird stat. If he kicks more than 3 goals in a game, Geelong don't lose, especially when you look at the stats for this year. So Noah Bolter, he's got a big game ahead of him, and I believe is one of the crucial components to Richmond winning this premiership on Saturday. We can talk about other Richmond players as well. Dustin Martin, obviously the conversation all week has been whether he's the best finals player to play the game. We're kind of forgetting that people like Lethal, Lee Matthews, and players kind of from that era of football didn't play for Norm Smiths, and I feel that Lee Matthews would have won himself a fair few. But I think it goes without saying, if Richmond win and Dustin Martin does win the Norm Smith, and there's a lot of tin foil hat kind of specialists out there saying that he's already got it engraved already, so yeah, you heard it here, folks. They reckon he's already got the Norm Smith in the bag. But if Dusty does win his 3rd Norm Smith, that puts him at the forefront as the only player in AFL history to win 3 Norm Smith medals. And then I think there would be no arguing that he would be at the forefront of being the best finals player, at least in the modern game. You've then got Trent Cochin, who is now wanting to become a 3-time Premiership captain. In my opinion, one of the best captains in the comp. But that could be my my rose-tinted glasses kind of blocking the eyes there a little bit. But he is very courageous with how he goes about things. He's done some... He did, that tackle a couple of weeks ago against Zach Jones. Okay, let's just strike that from the record. He has always led Richmond well. And I think it'd be good for the resume to see him pick up another win as well. Not to mention players like Bashar Hooley could potentially be retiring at the end of the year. I think it'd be good if Bashar did pick up one last premiership. Hey, maybe pick up that Norm Smith he was robbed of in 2017. Don't tell me he wasn't robbed in 2017. 2019, Dusty probably had it locked down, but 2017, that was fucking Bashar Hooley's. But then we turn attention away from Richmond and we look at Geelong. And it really is the case of dynasty versus destiny, what people are calling destiny. I'm calling it legacy. So we've got Richmond looking at being one of those teams mentioned along the likes of Brisbane, Hawthorn, Geelong, one of the dynasty clubs of the modern AFL era. Now, it's not a three-peat, so I personally feel that we can't be compared to Brisbane or Hawthorn, but still Geelong winning those 3 premierships in 5 years, I think we can be in the calculation with them as well. And I still firmly believe Richmond have the list to win a premiership, or at least contest for one, for the next 5 to 6 years. Quite comfortably, especially with some of the big name talent that we still have contracted for that period of time. But then we look at Geelong, and Geelong might have some older heads, but it's all about legacy for them. You've got Gary Ablett Jr., the best player in the modern era, without fail, looking at cementing his legacy by potentially picking up a premiership in his final game of AFL football. Even if Geelong didn't win the premiership, I think it is fitting for him to bow out on the biggest stage of them all. Why wouldn't the biggest player of them all, not in size, because he's a small little bastard, but why wouldn't one of the biggest name players ever in the history of the game finish on the biggest stage of them all? It just makes sense. You've then got Harry Taylor, who's probably going to go on to retire as well. Selwood's not getting any younger. Tom Hawkins isn't getting any younger. Patrick Dangerfield is in his first ever grand final. I still can't believe I'm saying that. But he's got a legacy here to cement as well. He has been one of the best players of the modern game, especially over the last few years, since going to Geelong. Even probably when he was at Adelaide at the back end, he was starting to make a name for himself. But winning that Brownlow really brought him into the conversation. And to be able to walk away with a premiership, I think that just caps off his career done and dusted. If he never won a premiership again, I think he'd be able to retire a very happy man. And then you've got the young up-and-comers as well. Like I said about Richmond, they've got players that have stepped up to the next level. Geelong have had the same thing. Cam Guthrie, Sam Menegola, Brandon Parfitt, Jack Henry in the back line, Kolodajny in the back line. They have had some really good young, not even young, kind of mid-aged talent as well, that have kind of been on the outskirts. Really lifted their game to the next level. Mitch Duncan as well. What a year has Mitch Duncan had. The only thing we can really do here is reflect back on the contests that Richmond and Geelong have had in the past, just to see where we're sitting. And if you have a look here, Richmond has Geelong's number all the way back stemming from 2017, that qualifying final. 51 points Richmond ended up getting up by. 2018, Richmond only win once, but they beat them twice. In 2019, Geelong swings it around and manages to defeat Richmond. Huge upset loss for that season. Later on in the year, when we get the chance, Geelong head in with a healthy lead, and then we know what Richmond did. Richmond came out, sword to the stone, managed to get the job done, and then as early as round 17 this season, Richmond managed to get a 26-point victory against Geelong, with the likes of Bashar Hooley not playing, Shane Edwards not playing, Dion Prestia not playing, Toby Nankervis was still kind of on the outer, Ivan Soldo hurt himself here, Tom Lynch did a hamstring in this game, so a lot was going on. Geelong were still on a momentous roll at this point in time as well, and they've improved a lot since this specific game. Oh, just a Pacific. I'm not talking about oceans, we're talking about football. From this point in time, both teams have improved a hell of a lot. Richmond have the cavalry back, a very well-timed finals run yet again that emulates, in my opinion, our 2019 run. Geelong have had a good run at it as well, and when we have a look at how they've performed through the final series, both teams lost their first final. They both bounced back, even though Geelong... We won't even touch on what Geelong did to Collingwood, because I might get done for like... You know, I don't want to get in trouble for using words like rape. That's all I want to say. Richmond did not as big of a win, but very comfortably against St Kilda. Then we both came back into the fold. A very good contest between Port Adelaide and Richmond. One of the toughest games in the way of tackling pressure that I've ever seen. There was over 125 tackles laid in that game. Absolutely unbelievable. Richmond getting on top of the clearance game as well, which, as the second lowest clearance team in the comp, very impressive to see. Then on the flip side, Geelong comes out and just does a number on Brisbane just like they did to Collingwood the week before. So when you've got people saying they're going to come out and do a number on Richmond, you can kind of see that there is a little bit of merit there, because Geelong have been going whack, whack, whack. Richmond, however, have been doing it the tough way. A lot closer contests. I don't know about you guys at home. You can let me know in the comments down below, but heading into a grand final, I would much prefer a hard-fought win than a big belting. No time to be getting complacent before the grand final, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm trying to say. I think both clubs go into this game unchanged when it comes to matchups on the field. The only player for Richmond that I would probably consider bringing in is Josh Caddy, but I don't know at the expense of who that would be. I just think another body up forward of his size would be beneficial to Richmond's forward line. That's just my opinion. Then on the flip side with Geelong, there is one man that I feel they should bring in, and that's ArghGodzirra. I don't know whether he's injured. I don't know whether that he's just out of form and they don't want to play him. But if we have a look back to round 17 when we played Geelong, his shots on goal were pretty shonky, but he managed to pluck some big grabs and kick a couple of goals. That's something Tom Hawkins was struggling to do against Noah Bolter, and it gave Geelong another avenue when they started that final charge that really started putting a shock into my heart, because I thought, oh fuck, here we go, we're going to cop another loss here. At any rate, I think we are set up for one hell of a grand final. It's not going to be the case of Richmond v GWS last year, and I don't think it's going to be the case with Richmond v Adelaide in 2017. Richmond's 2 grand final wins so far have been pretty sizable in the way of margin. I want a hard-fought contest. If I walk away with 1 point, walk away with 12 points. As long as both teams put everything on the line, I'm a very happy man, and I feel these two teams are going to go out onto that field, the Gabba, for the very first time in AFL history, for the grand final, is going to see one hell of a contest. We're primed. The big names are going to clash. Youth versus old in a lot of retrospects. Both play a very defensive style and both kind of rely on that defensive setup to kind of slingshot their certain plays. Who am I going to tip? I think you guys know who I'm going to tip, right? You can hear that. You can hear that? Can you? Yeah, I'm tipping Richmond, guys. Let's be serious. And of course, that's because I'm a Richmond boy. Just let's get another premiership up on that wall into the trophy cabinet. It'd be fantastic. I would love Richmond to be a part of history in creating somewhat of a dynasty, especially if this is only just the beginning. Who knows? Richmond win this one, back to back. Could we go 3 in a row? Huh? Could we be the first team to go 4 in a row? I don't know. All I know is Saturday at the Gabba, under lights, we're going to see one hell of a game. Feel free to let me know who you guys are rooting for as well. I know some of you are going for Richmond, and that means a lot to me. I know some of you bastards are going for Geelong just to spite me as well, so you guys just... fuck you guys. No, but in all seriousness, regardless of who you're going for this weekend, Richmond or Geelong, I think at the heart of the matter, I've said it a few times myself, as a supporter of the AFL, we only ever want to see a good contest. And I know there's a few people that I'm close to. That's all I want. I just want to see a good game. We just want to sit down, finally cap off what has been a very weird year of football, finally give the trophy to somebody, and let's reset and kind of hope COVID fucks off so we can get back to normality next year. We're not just going to pick the winner of the grand final though. We're going to throw in some Norm Smith medalist predictions as well. And I think it's easy to say if Richmond win, Dustin Martin's going to be in the conversation. I think that would probably be the case because, let's face it, the media love talking my boy Dusty up more sometimes than he kind of deserves. I mean, he's a big player, but come on, just get his nutsack out of your mouth. Some smokies for the Norm Smith from Richmond could be Shai Bolton. I feel he could really step up and claim his stake. Nick Vlosten could be another one as well. Severely underrated sometimes in that defensive line, especially not getting a jacket this year for All-Australian. I'm just saying. On the flip side, if Geelong win, Patrick Dangerfield would have to be in conversation. I think as well, depending on how little or how big an impact he has on the game, Gary Ablett winning a premiership, taking home a Norm Smith medal to cap off his career. What more could the little master want? I am going to go on a limb and say Shai Bolton, though. I think he's going to be my pick. Dusty probably will win it. But personally, after the year he's had, I think Bolton would be a very worthy winner. First goal kicker. Why not do something a little bit different as well? First goal kicker, I'm going to go with Tom Lynch. Some of you think he's a dog. I think he's just a little bit over-exuberant and does some stupid shit. Regardless of what we think of him, he's a great player. He's kicking goal number 1 in the grand final. And after all said and done, We're going to have a Barty party when Ash Barty gives the Premiership Cup to Damien Hardwick and Trent Cochin. That's in my eyes anyway, going off of my predictions. Calm down. Just fucking calm down. But that's what wraps up this video. Sorry I waffled on for a little bit. I really wanted to get like some insight into some statistics and stuff this time around as well. Be a little bit more in depth with some of the conversation. Let me know in the comment section down below who you think's going to win the Premiership, who you think is going to be the Norm Smith medalist, who you think's going to kick the first goal. Let's just do something a little bit fun in the comment section down below. Mentioned it at the start, if you could hit that like button, it would go a long way to supporting myself. And if you're new to the channel, and you want to see more AFL content, hit that subscribe button down below as well. Because at the moment, while there's been a little bit of sway with the content, and I do apologise, I've got a baby in the house again, just past a month old the other day. I've been very busy trying to get her adapted to life here, getting adapted to my son now dealing with another baby in the house, my partner and I having another baby in the house. So, family first, but I'm slowly getting back with the content, which includes getting involved with a lot more AFL-based content too, because you guys want to see it. So I do have an Adelaide highlights video, and I'm going to be doing more highlights videos of all the other teams throughout the year. We're going to touch on some draft-based videos as well for the NAB draft coming up, including a video where I go through the last 4 or 5 seasons and pick out who I believe are the best players drafted in that period of time. One of you recommended it, so hey, if there's content you want to see, let me know in the comment section down below as well, or you can hit me up on social media. You can find those in the description down below. If you want to see it, let me know. I'm happy to look into it. Hit that notification bell as well, so if YouTube does decide, hey, we're going to give you a notification, you'll get told when there's something to go check out. But that's it from me, guys. I'm out of here. Hopefully my boys can get the job done. Fingers crossed. Good luck with all your predictions and tips for the game. Hopefully they come through for you. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.